started putting up the siding without you guys. So what's happening is I have to make sure that the siding aligns with the siding on both sides of the door. I have to do some measuring and make sure that's placed in the right way. I've got some edging and some pieces across the head that have to go as well. That's why there's a gap on the side, because that's got to be put down first and then the siding goes on top of it. So I just left a gap, and there'll be a gap on the other side of the door as well. And the piece that goes over will overlap about 1 inch, as much as I can to this screw anyway. And just can't go on top of that screw there. It's got to be, can't overlap this, it's got to be above it. And that's for just to keep the rain out. I've completed the siding along the top of the door. I've just slid it up underneath. I was able to cut some of these panels off and just move them down this direction and met the slope of the roof, and that meant I could get by with just a little bit of material. So yeah, put that all up underneath there. I got the drip rail back in. And what I had to do with the drip rail as well, because of this gap here now, because of the hinge, the hinge is that thick, and that meant the drip rail had to come out a bit. So I used some of this stuff here, which is a silicone impregnated foam or something, and I just stuffed it in the gap. I'm going to use more of this now along this edge to fill the gap here between this drip rail, but drip rail is now turned upside down. It's going to, the translucent opaque plastic is going to go up into there, and that'll cover this gap here, seal it up. And when I get all that finished, I can start doing the sides all the way down to the ground. Using offcuts is always tricky. In this case, I was hoping just to use this as the part that overlaps, but it's all bent up, and that was what's left over from something else. I can't really use that. It's not a nice edge. What I'll end up doing, I'll cut this along here, and then I'll use the sander and make it a nice, smooth, straight edge. Right here, where it goes up underneath the track, I've decided to, this is where it should end, right in this valley. And if I cut it up about here, it actually will seal tightly inside the edging. That edging is about so thick, and if I cut this here and then bend it up a little bit, that'll just fit in there perfectly, and it'll hold it down on the outside edge of that track, or the edging. That's the plan anyway. You can see how I struggled to lift that door. It's because I've got the counterweights dialed back. If I put a lot of counterweights on it, it would go up a lot easier, but then pulling it down is kind of a problem because it has so much rolling resistance. It's a heavy door. So anyways, I'm going to use this electric hoist to lift it the rest of the way. And then I'll adjust the counterweights a bit more so that it'll pretty much guaranteed to fall on its own. This is rated for 100 pounds at a rate of 26 feet per minute, because I wanted the door to open fairly quick. If I wanted to go half that speed, I can gear it down to lift 220 pounds, but I shouldn't have to do that. So this is a pulley I'd need if I wanted to gear it down to half speed for getting the capacity to 220 pounds. What I should mention for this is it also has a holding brake, so I can hear it ratcheting in there. When I press the up or down button, you hear something disengage, and then when it stops, it engages, and I think it's a ratchet and pull, so it'll stay locked in whatever position you leave it. I'm already starting a scrap pile. This frame came off the back of a zero-turn lawnmower that I bought used. And I took it off because it didn't have any apparent purpose. But it's got nice heavy iron here. I think that can be the bracket that'll hold my winch. And this hinge, that'll be my strap hinge that I use for this. When I get the hook going, the hook will just hook into that. It'll pull the door up and down. I think it's strong enough. It's not as heavy duty as the other ones, but it's not holding near as much weight either. You can see the wire there, if it focuses. It's got a metric, which is a millimeter square, 0.824 millimeter square, or 18 gauge wire. So it's an 18 gauge wire, and I have to get, if I extend this, I have to find something similar than this. Here's another interesting feature of this. Reading the label, it's got a duty cycle. You can run it for 2.5 minutes, but then it's got to cool off for 7.5 minutes. So that should be no problem, because the door can be up and down within a minute based on the maximum speed. Even in going to half, it should be, it should be fine with that. That's the power cable. This is the control cable. What's inside here? So we've got a really simple situation here. White and red go on to this outermost connector. Black goes to the other one. Blue goes to here. And red goes to here, this micro switch. That micro switch is what, when that trips, it shuts it off. So that's the safety. Well, I'm back from the store. And this is some 16-4 wire. This isn't actually got a voltage rating printed on it, but I went online to look. It's made by Southwire, and that's rated for 300 volts. So that'll still be all right. Well, this is 12, goes to here. The wire right next to it's 10. And then the white wire is 3. That doesn't make any sense. This one's 11. I don't know what they've done there. So I'm just going to go by color. So we have black. We've got blue. We've got white. No, I beg your pardon, that one doesn't come off. And then we have white on this one. And the red one, meanwhile, goes to the micro switch. Now red in this case is number 6. Black in this case is 12. Blue in this case is 10. And white is 11. Okay, so I'll follow this diagram when I put the new wire in. Good. Nearly finished. The door is holding itself open. I think I've got too many counterweights on it because it won't fall at the moment by itself. My hinge, I beefed it up a little bit because where this lifts, the hinge was awful thin. So I just made some little gusseted there a bit. All I have to do is mount this here. Cable's right here. Attach the hook to it, right there. And then I can take off some of them weights. The door will drop by itself, and then I can use the winch to winch it up. I guessed wrong on the weight of the door. I thought a 100-pound winch would be enough. It isn't. It's somewhat less than 200, but it's more than 100. The winch couldn't handle it, so I've had to use a pulley that was supplied. And now it goes up half as fast, but it goes up all the way. And I was able to remove enough counterweight that the door drops by itself. So we're good now.